Hello, my dear students. Welcome to IMS Academy. My dear students, are you looking for quick revision or are you want to revise your formula sheet? Then, my dear students, we at IMS Academy proudly revising all the formulas for every branch and for every subject. And my dear students, this revision, this formula sheet will help you to memorize the formulas, and these formulas will be very much helpful in solving the previous year GATE questions and the current GATE year, GATE 2024. And in addition to this, my dear students, we at IMS Academy offers 800 plus hours of GATE coaching at Jayanagar and also at Vijayawada. This is completely offline center. My dear students, if you want to have a look and a glance of the offline classes, you can visit our Jayanagar center, which is near to the Jayanagar metro station. And apart from this, my dear students, the material is what we provide is very much appreciated. We provide subject-wise material, we provide exercise books, which includes level 1, level 2, level 3 questions, and it includes NET, MSQ and MCQ questions. My dear students, in addition to this, the key success for IMS Academy is the My Plan session, where the weakness of the student can be converted into the strength by individual counseling with the respective mentors. In addition to this, we provide doubt solving portal where your question will be answered within 24 hours of duration of time. Now, my dear students, if you are a student from Andhra Pradesh, then what are you waiting for? We also are running the offline center at Vijayawada, and that is at Bench Circle. At Bench Circle, we will be providing the demo classes also. You can visit our weekend batch and also weekday batch also at Jayanagar. So this is all about the introduction about these things. Today, I am here to discuss the quick reason and the formula sheet on the part 2 of surveying. Yesterday, in the previous session, I have covered the surveying, photogrammetry topic and compass surveying. In today's class, I would be more precise on the formulas which are very much helpful in solving the GATE question paper. And remember, my dear students, if you are really interested, so don't miss these sessions because with a stipulated time, with a short duration, you can revise yourself and you can test yourself and you can memorize these formulas, and at the end of the day, my dear students, applying the formulas is the most important thing. So let us quickly start our topic today. So first I will start with the fundamental concepts of survey. See, when I start the formulas, I will start with the fundamental concepts of surveying. Now, my dear students, why do we use or what is the objective of surveying? Sir, the objective of surveying is to find the area, volume and other related quantities. Or if you consider a datum, whether you are above the datum or whether you are below the datum. So, in order to find the elevation also, surveying will be helpful. So, surveying has various advantages and various objectives. Now, my dear students, coming to the important things like what do we consider different types of surveyings are there, because there can be an MSQ question. The surveying in which the curvature of the earth is considered. Now, my dear students, usually the shape of the earth is oblate spheroid. What is the actual shape of the earth? It is not a circle, it is oblate spheroid. Now, my dear students, suppose if you have a point A here and suppose if you have a point B here, and if you measure the distance in this way, so here you are considering the curvature. That is the reason the survey in which curvature of earth is considered, we call it as geodetic surveying. What do we call, sir? Geodetic survey. Now, my dear students, geodetic surveying is most accurate surveying. Why? Because you are considering the curvature of the earth. Now, the second point I would like to tell here is, suppose if I consider this as a plane. Now, if you want to measure the distance between 2 points A and B, you just measure in the straight line way. That means you are not considering the curvature, and this is called plane survey. So, what is the basic difference between plane surveying and geodetic surveying is, geodetic surveying, curvature is considered. In plane surveying, curvature is not considered. This was one of the objective question in GATE exam, my dear students. Now, based on different applications, classification of surveying is, first one we have is the control survey, where you will be trying to establish the control points. What do you mean by control point is, a control point is nothing but a known elevation. Suppose if you talk about Majestic in Bangalore, it is a known point and it is already established. That is a control point. Suppose in Charminar in Hyderabad, that is a control point. A point whose elevation is known is nothing but control point. So in control survey, you will be trying to develop the control points using the principles of geodetic. Why you are using the principles of geodetic surveying? Because, my dear students, geodetic survey is the most accurate method. That is the reason in geodetic survey, we use the principle of geodetic survey in control surveying. And in India, Survey of India is the organization which will take the responsibility to develop the control points. When you talk about the survey in which the natural features like rivers, hills, mountains, if you want to talk about the survey of these things, we call it as topographical survey. And my dear students, if you talk about the fixing the boundaries of a plot, this comes under revenue and we call it as cadastral survey. If you are doing the survey for underground works such as extraction of coal or mining purpose, we call it as underground survey or mining survey. Similarly, we have astronomical survey where you will take the observations, and similarly we might be having the other surveys like hydrographic survey, the survey which is done on water bodies. So this is all about the classification of survey where there can be an objective question. Now, my dear students, we have a factor called shrinkage factor. What is the factor, sir? Shrinkage factor. Now, my dear students, what do you mean by shrinkage factor? Now, what is the formula for shrinkage factor? Shrinkage factor is nothing but it is defined as the ratio of shrunk length upon actual length. What do you mean by shrinkage factor, sir? It is defined as the ratio of shrunk length upon actual length. The shrunk length upon actual length is nothing but the shrinkage factor. Now here, see my dear students, let me explain you a practical example. If you suppose a cotton cloth is immersed in water, it gets shrunk. So definitely, my dear students, shrunk length will be less than the actual length. So the numerator is less than denominator. Definitely it will be less than 1. There can be an objective question on this also. So shrinkage factor is always less than 1. Why shrinkage factor is always less than 1, my dear students? Because the shrunk length is always less than the actual length. Now coming to the corrected length. How do you measure the corrected length when there is a shrinkage issue? So here, my dear students, corrected length is equal to measured length upon shrinkage factor. What is the corrected length formula, my dear students? Corrected length can be written as measured length upon shrinkage factor. Now, my dear students, you can ask me, sir, how do I calculate the corrected area? When you talk about the corrected area, my dear students, when you talk about the corrected area, okay, corrected area is nothing but measured area upon shrinkage factor whole square. What do you mean by, sir? It is nothing but measured area upon shrinkage factor whole square. Now here you can ask me, sir, why whole square has came? Sir, in area you measure in the lengthwise as well as widthwise, or you can say the measurement is done twice to calculate the area. That is the reason for one length the shrinkage factor, for another width also shrinkage factor. So shrinkage factor into shrinkage factor, it is shrinkage factor whole square. So this is all about the shrinkage factor. Now my dear students, what do you mean by shrinkage factor? Shrinkage factor is nothing but the ratio of shrunk length upon actual length, and shrinkage factor is always less than 1. Here we have corrected length is equal to measured length upon shrinkage factor. Corrected area is equal to measured area upon shrinkage factor whole square. I hope you are clear. Now, my dear students, the most awaiting question and the most expected question in GATE 24. This, whatever I am teaching, this will be recorded in the YouTube and you can check it with me after the GATE exam. It's my challenge. if you see compass surveying or corrections, there can be a 100% question in gate 24. Now coming to this point, my dear students, if you want to see corrections in tape, so what are the corrections in tape? This is the question, sir. 100% we can expect either in corrections or either in compass survey. So how do you do the corrections in tape? So corrections in tape, first we call it as correction for standardization. First we call correction for standardization. What do you mean by correction for standardization, my dear students? Suppose, see students, you might have heard some story like this. If the chain is too long, the measured distance will be less. So error will be, what sir? Error will be negative, correction will be positive. If the chain is too small, the measured distance will be more, error will be positive and correction will be negative. So this is nothing for the correction for standardization. How do we apply the correction for standardization is CA, correction for chain length or tape, into total length measured upon what is the designated length of the chain or a tape. Now my dear students, so if the chain is too long, we say that measured distance is less, error is negative, correction is positive. So here correction for standardization, my dear students, it can be a positive or it can be a negative. So they can ask you this question also. Correction for standardization can be a positive or a negative. It can be both. It can be positive or it can be negative. What is C, sir? Correction for standardization. What do you mean by CA? Correction for each chain length. And how many chain lengths are there means total, capital L represents the total length measured upon what is the designated length of the chain. So my dear students, the correction for standardization is CA into capital L upon small l. Like aptitude questions, sir, you can apply that thing. Okay. Now see students, next one we have is the correction for slope. Next one we have is what, sir? Correction for slope. Now see students, what do you mean by correction for slope, sir? Suppose, see students, if there is 2 points A and B, okay, actually the distance will be, this is inclined by an angle theta. Agree or not? Now what is the correction for slope? Definitely the inclined distance will be more than the actual distance. So here correction for slope, you can always write that correction for slope is always negative. This is a very important point. Correction for slope is always negative. Suppose, see students, if I consider the elevation here as H and if I consider this as L, correction for slope approximate formula is given by the formula H square upon 2L, or the other formula is L into 1 minus cos theta. Because this formula you can say if it is L, this is theta, this value will be L cos theta. The difference between them will be the correction L minus L cos theta, which will be equal to L into 1 minus cos theta. So here my dear students, what is the correction for slope, sir? Correction for slope is nothing but capital L into 1 minus cos theta. I hope this is clear for you. So correction for slope is always negative. Now my dear students, let me tell you the correction for temperature. Let me tell you what is the correction for temperature. Now see students, you might have studied, suppose in rails we have seen some gap, right? So what is the, because of the change in temperature, there will be some expansion. Similarly here, correction for temperature is given by the formula L alpha delta T, which you will write it as L alpha into Tm minus T naught. Okay. See students, what is L? Length of the tape or chain. Alpha is what, sir? Coefficient of thermal expansion. What is Tm? Tm is the temperature during measurement. What, sir? Tm is the temperature during measurement and T naught is the standard temperature. What, sir? Tm is the temperature during measurement and T naught is the standard temperature. Now my dear students, I have a question for you. When it will be positive and when it will be negative. By looking into the question, by looking into the formula, you can easily answer. See my dear students, if Tm is greater than T naught, If Tm is greater than T naught, correction for temperature will be positive. If Tm is greater than T naught, correction for temperature will be positive. And my dear students, if Tm is less than T naught, if Tm is less than T naught, correction for temperature is negative. So here there is a simple logic. How do you find out the change in length due to the temperature? It can be a length or a tape or a chain. So correction for temperature during the tape is L alpha into Tm minus T naught, where L is the designated length of a tape. Alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion. When Tm is greater than T naught, correction for temperature will be positive, and correction for if Tm is less than T naught, correction for temperature will be negative. I hope this is clear for you. Now, my dear students, next one we have is the correction for pull. Sir, see students, how do you remember correction for pull? I usually tell like this. Usually this is the funda actually. Now, my dear students, what do you know Young's modulus, sir? You know Young's modulus is equal to what, my dear students? It is nothing but stress upon strain. Am I correct or wrong? The Young's modulus is defined as stress upon strain. Here you know what do you mean by stress, sir? It is nothing but load upon area. Strain is nothing but change in length by original length. Here what will be the elongation means you will tell PL upon AE. Now, my dear students, you are habituated with this formula. Just this formula, if you apply, you can know the correction for pull. So, correction for pull is given by the formula P minus P naught into L upon AE. Sir, here you can ask me, what is P naught? Sir, P naught is the standard pull. Whatever the pull you are applying, that is more than the standard pull, then the correction will be positive. If the pull applied is less than the standard pull, then the correction for pull is negative. So here you can write here, my dear students, if P is greater than P naught, correction for pull is positive. And remember, my dear students, if P is less than P naught, correction for pull is negative. So how to remember this formula also I am telling you, my dear students. How do you calculate the change in length is nothing but PL by AE. That you have to compare with P naught, that is standard pull. So P minus P naught into L upon AE is the correction for pull. In case, so if P applied pull is greater than standard pull, then it is positive. If the applied pull is less than standard pull, then it is negative. I hope you are clear with this. Now, my dear students, we have the next one we have is the correction for sag. Sir, what do you mean by correction for sag here? See, my dear students, suppose if you have transmission towers, okay, during the transmission towers, when they are putting the wiring will be like this initially. But after few months, the wire will be sagging like this. This is nothing but the correction for sag. Here, my dear students, correction for sag is always negative because this length, whatever this length, will be more than this length. That is the reason correction for sag is always negative. This is another important point, sir. Correction for slope, correction for sag is always negative, and it is given by the formula W square L upon 24 N square P square. Now, my dear students, what is W? Total weight of the tape. L is the length and N is number of equal base and P is the applied pull. So here equal base means there can be base like this, sir. In this case, there will be 3 base. If you consider this bay, there is only 1 bay. N is nothing but number of base. So what is the correction for sag? Correction for sag is always negative, and correction for sag is always given by the formula W square L upon 24 N square P square, where N indicates the number of base and P indicates the pull and L is the total length. Okay, I hope you are clear for this. Now, my dear students, next, similarly, if you want to measure a distance between 2 points A and B, sir, you can measure in this way, right? But if there is some misalignment, so you will measure in this way. So here if there is a theta 1 here and you have a theta 2 here, and if the length measured is L1 here and if the length measured is L2, same the correction for slope you have to apply twice. So this is what, sir? This is the correction for misalignment. This is the correction for misalignment. So when I talk about the correction for misalignment, my dear students, what I would like to tell you here is, you are trying to measure the depth when there is a no proper chaining or no proper taping. So the formula will be L2 into 1 minus cos theta 2 plus L1 into 1 minus cos theta 1. And here also this length will be more than the actual length. So the correction for misalignment is always negative. So my dear students, whenever you are studying the GATE exam, it is a last moment preparation. So you are hardly 20 to 25 days are there for the GATE exam. So whenever you are concentrating on the GATE exam, sir, you have to first understand the weightage of the subjects. Sir, based on the weightage of the subject, based on the subject analysis also, you have to get the marks. Means you have to start looking into the preparation. Suppose some students might be feel very comfortable in structural engineering, so they should concentrate more on structural engineering. But in civil engineering, sir, especially subjects like surveying, which we call geomatics, or CMM, construction materials and management, these are the subjects where you can easily secure the good marks, because the subject is very interesting and also very easy to remember. So students, this kind of analysis is always required. And we at IMS GATE Academy, if you have attended our sessions in YouTube channel, still if you want to have a glance what should be the last 20 day strategy, our other co-mentors are doing the last 20 days strategy also in the YouTube. In addition to this, if you want to have a one-to-one interaction with the respective faculties, you can visit our Jayanagar Center, where you can individually interact with the mentors, individual subject mentors, and they will have a better idea, they will have a in-depth knowledge on the complete subject and which subjects you have to take care. So my dear students, don't miss this opportunity. We at IMS GATE Academy at Jayanagar Center, Bangalore, we are offering this and we are available at the center. In addition to this, students, now let me tell you correction for mean sea level. Correction for mean sea level. Now see students, what do you mean by correction for mean sea level here is, suppose see students, if usually the shape of the earth is like in a, I told you, oblate spheroid. So if suppose this is the surface of the earth, if there is some object above height h from above the surface of the earth, are you getting, my dear students? Usually the shape of the earth is oblate spheroid. There is some object at an elevation of h from the surface of the earth. So the correction for mean sea level is given by the formula LH upon R. Sir, here you always have to use common sense. Sir, see, when you are a point or an object is above the sea level, if you see this curve is more than this curve, so definitely this distance is more than this, means correction will be negative. So you have to remember, sir, if the body or an object is above the mean sea level, the correction will be negative, and if it is below the mean sea level, correction will be positive. So usually see here students, how to remember whether the correction is positive or negative. More distance, then the correction will be negative. Less distance, the correction will be positive. If you can remember in this way, it is very easy to remember. So let us finalize all the formulas in one sheet, sir. So first we have discussed correction for standardization. Correction for standardization is given by the formula C is equal to CA into L upon small l. Next we have done the correction for slope. I will write in shortcuts, sir, correction for standardization. Next we have done is correction for slope, that is L into 1 minus cos theta. Here correction for slope is always negative. Here correction for standardization can be positive or negative. If you see students, next one we have discussed is the correction for pull, that is P minus P naught into L upon AE. If the P is greater than P naught, correction for pull is positive. If P is less than P naught, correction for pull is negative. Similarly, we have discussed correction for temperature is equal to L into alpha into Tm minus T naught. If the temperature during measurement is more than standard temperature, then the correction is positive. If the temperature during measurement is less than the standard temperature, correction for temperature will be negative. So we also have correction for misalignment. That is what, sir? Correction for misalignment is given by the formula L into 1 minus cos theta 1 plus L2 into 1 minus cos theta 2. Similarly, my dear students, we have the correction for sag. So here, see students, correction, this is always negative. And remember, I told you already correction for sag is nothing but W square L upon 24 N square P square. And correction for sag is always negative. And we have discussed the last one, correction for mean sea level, MSL, mean sea level. If you see here, it is LH by R. Above the datum, then it is negative. Below the datum, then it is positive. Just go through these formulas for a second, students. Okay, my dear students, you might have taken the screenshot or anything. So, see students, whenever you are studying surveying subject, always remember there will be a question from compass surveying or from corrections or either from leveling topic like backside, foresight, or there can be a question from photogrammetry. These are the most expected questions and most important formulas also you have to remember. Next thing, sir, next I would like to concentrate on traversing. Next I would like to concentrate on traversing. Sir, what do you mean by traversing here, my dear students? Sir, a traversing is nothing but a group of survey lanes connected together. What do you mean by traversing, my dear students? If you consider a polygon, a group of survey lines are connected together to form a polygon, right? So here what is the agenda of traversing is, when you form a closed loop, definitely you have the advantage of finding the area. So that is the one of the thing what we do in traversing. Traversing is nothing but what, my dear students? A group of survey lines connected together is nothing but traversing. So to follow the traversing, you have to measure the lengths and you have to know the bearings. To measure the lengths, you can do with a chain or a tape. To measure the angle, you will do with a compass or with a theodolite. Now, my dear students, suppose if I have taken a line, survey line, if I have taken this, if I consider this as a survey line, and usually in whole circle bearing, I told you the survey line makes a bearing with respect to what, sir? With respect to north. So here what I would like to tell you, if I consider this as L and if I consider this as D, I'll tell you. If the length of the line is small l, so here, my dear students, so what do you mean by L and what do you mean by D? Sir, L is nothing but called latitude. Sir, here latitude is nothing but capital L, which is equal to L cos theta. Okay, sir. This seems to be very easy, but we can expect a question. And in departure, D is equal to L sin theta. Because actually it makes 90 minus theta and you know how to resolve it. So here, my dear students, latitude is L cos theta and departure is L sin theta. Now see students, if you consider a closed traverse, if you consider the traverse is closed, or simply if they given in the question this concept, it is a closed traverse, then remember this concept, my dear students. The concept here is sum of latitudes is equal to 0 and sum of departures will be 0. What, sir? If it is a closed traverse, for your information, my dear students, sum of latitudes will be equal to 0 and sum of departures will be equal to 0. Now, you can ask me another question, sir. Here, see students, let me tell you, in case of latitudes, if it is northing, sir, you take northing as positive in latitudes, okay? Northings will be taken as positive. Or if you can simply observe the vertical line which is northing, that will be taken as positive. And if you consider southing, northing will be positive and southing will be taken as negative. So here what I would like to tell you, in the case of latitudes, northing will be taken as positive and southing will be taken as negative. Sir, my dear students, they give you the values. In northing, suppose they will give you 300 meter. In southing, they will give you 310 meter. So what is the sum of latitude means? You simply write sum of latitudes can also be written as sum of northings minus sum of southings. Sum of latitudes can also be written easily as sum of northings minus sum of southings. I hope you are following, sir. And my dear students, when I talk about the sum of departures, what do you mean by sum of departures here is, suppose here if I talk about here my dear students, in sum of departures, easting will be taken as positive, and remember my dear students, westing will be taken as negative. So departure is nothing but a horizontal line. So easting will be positive and westing will be negative. In this case, my dear students, if I talk about the departure, sum of eastings minus sum of westings. So you should be clear, students. Here I want to tell you latitude is nothing but northings and southing, and departure is something like eastings and westings. So actually these will help you in solving the problems, sir. Now my dear students, actually see students, there can be a how to find out theta. Theta is nothing but what, sir? Bearing. So you know my dear students, and D is equal to L sin theta and L latitude is equal to L cos theta, right? So if how do we write tan theta? Tan theta can be written as sum of departures minus sum of latitudes. Sir, here there comes a important concept. How do you find out the bearing? Sum of departures upon sum of latitudes is nothing but tan theta. So here you should be very careful in identifying the quadrant. How I will tell you. Suppose see students, if I consider this as a quadrant, if we consider this as latitude and departure. Sir, if see, I'll mention top L and D. Sir, here L and D represents latitude and D represents departure. So here if the latitude and departure both are positive, then it is a first quadrant. Suppose if you have got tan theta, some value, positive, both should be positive, sir. See how, my dear students, if suppose both are negative, then you cannot cancel negative, negative and make it first quadrant. That is the reason I am explaining you this. Which quadrant is very important. Like you have studied in all silver teacups in trigonometry. Similarly, you have to apply this kind of stuff also. Here in latitudes, here if the latitude is negative and departure positive, then it is which quadrant, sir? This is first quadrant and this is second quadrant. Sir, what do you mean by first quadrant and second quadrant? In first quadrant, the angle varies from 0 to 90. If it is a second quadrant, the angle varies from 90 to 180. And if I consider here latitude and departure, both are negative, then it is what quadrant, sir? Then it is a third quadrant. And if the latitude is positive and departure is negative, then it is a fourth quadrant. So my dear students, this will help you. So that is the reason how I am writing very easily, sir, because you know that northing is positive and southing is negative. Easting is positive and westing is negative. If you can remember those things, definitely this bearing finding is very easy. Now my dear students, there is a concept called error of closure. So until now we have discussed that sum of latitudes will be equal to 0 and sum of departures is equal to 0. But see students, there will be some traverse which is not closed. So to find out that error of closure is given as sum of latitude square plus sum of departure square. What's our error of closure is given by the formula sum of latitude whole square plus sum of departure square. Similarly, my dear students, if they have to find out relative closing error, what, sir? If they have to find out the relative closing error is given by the formula error upon P. Sir, what do you mean by P, my dear students? P is nothing but perimeter, sir. Sir, how do you find out perimeter? Perimeter is nothing but the sum of the sides. Hello, my dear students, are you following? If you are following any queries, you can feel free to ask me in the chat box. So this is all about the closing error and all, and this is how you find out the relative closing error. Now, my dear students, what happens is we have Bordwich rule and also transit rule. In Bordwich method, sir, linear measurements are proportional to square root of length of the line, and angular measurements are proportional to the inversely proportional to the square root length of the line. Here in Bordwich rule, both linear and angular measurements are of equal precision. In transit rule, angular measurements are more precise. So that is what the basic thing I want. And another thing I would like to tell you, they can ask you what is the length of limiting offset. What is the length of the limiting offset? Now, my dear students, if they ask you what is the length of the limiting offset, see, my dear students, if they ask you what is the length of the limiting offset is given by the formula SR upon 40 root 2. Sir, here what do you mean by S and what do you mean by R, you can ask me. Sir, if the scale is represented as 1:S and degree of accuracy, sir, if degree of accuracy is represented as 1:R and scale is represented as 1:S. Now, my dear students, what do you mean by degree of accuracy? Degree of accuracy is nothing but the closeness of the value. So, here R can be taken as cosecant theta. R is equal to cosecant theta. This is the formula for degree of accuracy. So, here if I express scale is 1:S and 1:R as degree of accuracy, the length of the limiting offset. Limiting offset means there will be a deviation in the line, sir. Actually, if a line is projected, it should be perpendicular. But if there is a deviation in that, what is the length of the maximum length of the limiting offset is nothing but SR upon 40 root 2. This is how we will calculate the length of the limiting offset. I hope you are clear with this. Next, my dear students, you might have heard about these concepts, sir. Sir, these are also very important. Sir, what do you mean by foresight? And what do you mean by backsight? And what do you mean by intermediate sight? Before going to find the leveling, sir, leveling is nothing but to find the RL or you to find the elevations, we use the concept of leveling. And we also have intermediate sights. Now, my dear students, when I talk about foresight, what do you mean by foresight? A sight which is taken for known elevation. What, sir? A sight which is taken for known, extremely sorry, student. A sight, what do you mean by back sight is? A sight which is taken for known elevation is nothing but back sight. Means the elevation where you can easily known is nothing but back sight. And now, my dear students, whatever the foresight means, the staff reading or sight of an object can be a foresight. Sight of unknown elevation you can write. Sight of unknown elevation. Sir, what do you mean by intermediate sight means? Whatever the station which you have. Suppose, sir, see, usually if we consider the station summa, if I consider this as a station, if I consider this as a benchmark, this will be your backside because benchmark is nothing but a known elevation. So, the side taken for known elevation is backside. And if you are having some staffs here, the side taken, this is the, now you are trying to shift the instrument. After this site, after taking the value of this reading, you will try to change the station. That point will be the foresight, and whatever the stations which you are taking in between the backside and foresight, that will be the intermediate sight. So, these are very important, my dear students. Now, see students, see, if I talk about the height of instrument formula, sir, this is very important. In height of instrument method, what do you mean by height of instrument method? Height of instrument is always given by the formula RL plus backside. What, sir? RL plus backside. What do you mean by RL means? Reduced level. Height of instrument is given by the formula reduced level plus backside. And my dear students, RL of any point, RL of any point is given by the formula height of the instrument minus foresight or intermediate sight. So, if I see here, that is the reason in some books they will write foresight as negative sight, backsight as positive sight. So, height of the instrument is RL plus backside, and RL of any point is nothing but height of the instrument minus foresight or intermediate sight. I hope this is clear for you. In case of height of instrument, sir, you can say that last RL, the check, you can say here what is the check for height of instrument. If they ask you, last RL minus first RL is equal to sum of back sides minus sum of foresights. Sir, this is the formula, means this is the check for height of instrument method. Last RL minus first RL is equal to sum of back sides minus sum of four sides. Is this clear, sir? Now you can ask me another question, sir. If there are lot of intermediate stations, then you come across the method called rise and fall method. What, sir? Then you come across a method called rise and fall method. Sir, when I talk about the rise and fall method here also, what I would like to tell you here is, in rise and fall method, students, the check varies, sir. How the check varies is, in it, this is means the check varies. You know already that last RL minus first RL is equal to sum of backside minus sum of foresight. In addition to this, it will be equal to sum of rise minus sum of fall. Sir, usually rise and fall method is applicable when number of intermediate stations are more. That time only we go with rise and fall method. Okay, sir. Now, my dear students, see here, if you talk about height of instrument method, remember RL plus backside is height of instrument. RL of any point is height of instrument minus foresight or intermediate side. Sir, we have reciprocal leveling also. The best example for reciprocal leveling is a river, sir. If the station is, there are 2 points A and B. Okay, what you will do is, you will take the readings of A and B close to station A, and you will take the readings of station B and A close to station B. Now, what you will do when you are finding the reciprocal, how do you find out is, the readings which are taken by HA dash minus HB dash, you will take the mean difference of those values, HA double dash minus HP double dash upon 2. Are you getting me, my dear students? What here I would like to tell you is, you cannot have a measurement here. Means it is some river is flowing. So what you will do, whenever there are 2 stations, you will keep the station close to A and you will take the readings of A and B. Similarly, you will take the readings close to B and you will take the readings of A and B. Now find the difference in elevations and average that. You will get the elevation or oral difference. So this is how you apply in the reciprocal leveling. Okay. Now, my dear students, we have some corrections, sir. Correction for curvature. Okay, correction for curvature is always negative. Minus, it is given by the formula minus d square by 2r. Sir, what do you mean by correction for curvature, sir? Sir, actually, if you consider a line of sight, here the line of sight should be horizontal, you will think. But due to the shape of the earth is curved, so definitely it has a correction. So correction for curvature is minus d square by 2r. And remember, my dear students, correction for refraction means the ray gets refracted, right? Similarly here, the correction for refraction is given by the formula. It is a positive 1 minus 7 d square by 2r. So this is the formula for correction for refraction, and this is the formula for correction for curvature. Now, my dear students, there can be a question asked, what is the formula for combined correction? Sir, why I am telling combined correction, how the question can be asked also, I will tell you. So combined correction is also always negative, and it is given by the formula minus 6 by 7 d square by 2r. Sir, you might have seen lot of gate questions on this. Suppose if a man stands on top of a ship, sees a lighthouse, what is the distance between those two? So whenever there you have to apply combined correction. Are you getting, my dear students? If a man is standing on a ship, sees a lighthouse, what is the distance between the ship and the lighthouse? That can be the objective question. So in this case, what you have to apply is, the distance can be easily found out with an approximate formula 3.854 into root h1 plus root h2. Sir, here what I would like to tell you is, h1 and h2 will be substituted in meters and you will get the distance in kilometers. That is very important. Here what you have to do, sir, the height of the man or the height of a lighthouse, both should be substituted in meters. But the final answer you will be getting in what, sir? You will be getting in kilometers. Because combined correction, if you see, the radius of the earth is 6,400 kilometers. On substitution that, we have simplified this. So this formula will help you a lot in finding the distance between these things. So they can frame a question this kind, and this is the simplified formula. Now, my dear students, let me go into the important thing also, like curves. Sir, what do you mean by curve? Sir, see students, if suppose in a road, if I consider this as a road, you are moving in this direction. Suppose suddenly you want to change your direction, then you will opt for curves. So here in curves, what you will be trying to find out, sir? Suppose see, I'll take a simple curve, amma. I'll take a simple curve here. If you know the geometry, it is very easy to understand. Okay. Now, my dear students, see, if I consider this as, this is the point where tangent becomes a curve. So, we call it as point of curve. What, sir? What do you mean by point of curve? It is the point where tangent becomes a curve. Now, here, what is this, sir? Here, there is a point where curve becomes a tangent. That is called point of tangency. And remember, my dear students, here we call it as angle of intersection. See students, here this is very, very important. According to the geometry, the angle subtended here, delta, will be equal to the angle here, delta. It is not equal to here, sir. So, see students, what happens, no? They will give you the angle between the tangents as 30 degrees. You cannot take delta as 30. Delta will be equal to 180 minus 30. That will be equal to 150 degrees, which you should be very careful. Now, my dear students, this is the radius. Now see students, what we call here is, this we call it as length of the tangent. Sir, see, this is rectangle, this is 90 degrees. So, if this is radius r, this can be, if it is delta by 2. So, my dear students, so based on this diagram, I will be writing the formula summa. Here, see students, I will be writing here, length of the tangent. What is the formula, sir? Length of tangent is given by the formula r tan delta by 2. Sir, if you are aware of that, what do you mean by means length of tangent? It is easy to derive these formulas. What is the length of the tangent? It is r tan delta by 2. So, if I taken triangle, suppose see, sir, if I put as O, this is V and this is some T1, okay, O T1 V, if I taken triangle, you will get this VT1 is nothing but the length of the tangent, which is r tan delta by 2. Now, see students, this is known as length of the chord. So, what is length of the chord? This distance will be equal to r sin delta by 2 and this distance will be equal to r sin delta by 2. So, my dear students, if I take length of the chord is equal to r sin delta by 2. Length of the chord is equal to what, sir? R sin delta by 2. Now, my dear students, the distance from midpoint of the curve to the midpoint of chord is known as mid-ordinate distance. What, sir? The distance from midpoint of the chord to the midpoint of curve. So, here to here, if I consider here, see student, this is nothing but radius r. Sir, here this is r sin delta by 2. So, the vertical distance will be r cos delta by 2. So, if I talk about the mid-ordinate distance can be written as r into 1 minus cos delta by 2, or it can be written as r minus root over r square minus L by 2 square. Why? Because, sir, see, here if I consider a triangle, amma, this is radius, this is L by 2. So, this will be taken as this value and you have to r minus of that value also you can apply. Sir, this is all about geometry only, sir. Now, see students, what do you mean by the distance from point of intersection of tangents to the point of midpoint of the curve? That is called apex distance. What, sir? Apex distance. Here, my dear students, if I talk about the apex distance is given by the formula r secant delta by 2 minus 1. This is the formula for apex distance. Similarly, my dear students, they can ask you what is the length of the curve. You might have already studied this. Length of the curve is nothing but r delta, but if you convert into radians, this will be equal to pi r delta by 180 degrees. So, let me quickly revise this, sir. Length of tangent is r tan delta by 2. Length of curve is r sin delta by 2. Mid-ordinate is r into 1 minus cos delta by 2. Apex distance is r into secant delta by 2 minus 1. And length of curve is pi r delta by 180 degrees. Sir, see, when you talk about reverse curves, then see, when two are, see here what happens with the reverse curves is, see student, the reverse curve will have point of curvature on the opposite side. Suppose here you can have and here is the point of curvature. You have the point of curvature on opposite sides. So my dear students, I hope you are clear with the curves concept. It is a simple curve. I have given you the formula, sir. Now see students, actually if you talk about the contours, sir, see, I just want to tell you what do you mean by contour gradient actually. Contour gradient means what, sir? Slope. So what do you mean by contour gradient means? It is given by the formula contour gradient is equal to contour interval upon horizontal equivalent. What, sir? Contour interval upon horizontal equivalent. Immediately will ask me, what do you mean by horizontal equivalent and contour interval? Suppose see students, if I consider this as a map and if we have these are the contour lines, the vertical distance between two contours is known as contour interval. The horizontal distance between two contours is known as horizontal equivalent. Sir, actually in a map, if you maintain the constant contour intervals, you will have a better perspective of the maps or better understanding of the maps. Now, my dear students, what do you mean by contour? Contour is an imaginary line joining points of equal elevation. Two contour lines never intersect each other except in the case of overhanging cliff. Okay, sir? And another important thing is contour intervals are equally spaced, means it indicates uniform slope. If the contour lines are apart, properties of contours are important when they can be asked in MSQ, sir. If the contour lines are apart, it indicates gentle slope. And remember, my dear students, the ridge line joining the lowest points and the valley, valley line joining the lowest points, and if you consider the ridge line, the line joining the highest point, they intersect with the contours at 90 degrees. Okay, sir, these are the some of the important points, and if the contour values are higher inside and lower outside, then it indicates a hill. If the values are less inside and higher values outside, it represents a value. So actually these contours have lot of applications, sir, in disaster management or finding the area of a reservoir. All these things have very important concept. So here contour gradient is defined as the ratio of contour interval upon horizontal equivalent. And my dear students, suppose if you have a station and if the line of sight is horizontal, if you want to find the distance between the station and the staff held normal, here distance is given by D is equal to Ks plus C. This when the line of sight, this formula is applicable when line of sight is horizontal. Okay, sir. If the line of sight is inclined, it will be changed to Ks cos theta plus C. What, sir? If the line of sight is inclined, you can say line of sight inclined. Now immediately you will ask me, what is D? D is nothing but the distance between the instrument and the staff, or okay, sir. Now you can ask me here important things, sir. What do you mean by K? K is known as multiplying constant. What is K, sir? K is nothing but the multiplying constant, which is taken as K is equal to taken as F upon I, where F indicates the focal length and I indicates the stadia intercept. Important, sir. What do you mean by multiplying constant? Focal length upon stadia intercept. For analytic lens, K will be taken as 100 if it is not given. And we have C. C is known as additive constant. What is C, sir? C is known as additive constant, which will be taken as what, sir? F plus D, which will be taken as F plus D, where F indicates the focal length. And remember, sir, for analytical lens, additive constant will be 0. Now, my dear student, just for your information, I just want to draw the diagram here. Suppose C, sir. We have the optical center here. This is the focal F1. If I consider this as F2, this is the focal length of the eyepiece, and F1 is the focal length of the object. And if we have the station here, the distance between the optical center O and the station is known as small d. And the distance from the station to this we call it as capital D. Actually using the principles of optics, 1 by F is equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. And this is called what, sir? Stadia intercept I. And we call this as staff intercept. Yes. So actually using the principle of similar triangles, we can write here multiplying constant k is equal to f by I, and additive constant we can derive it as f plus d. So these are very important. In case of analytical lens, k will be taken as 100 and c will be taken as 0. And similarly, my dear students, we have formulas related to areas also, sir. We have two formulas. One is trapezoidal rule to find the volumes and all. And we have the next one is Simpson rule. Now, my dear students, if you talk about the Simpson rule and trapezoidal rule, so you will take in trapezoidal rule. Suppose if I have taken volume h by 2 into first ordinate plus last ordinate plus 2 into the remaining ordinates. So this will be the formula for trapezoidal rule. And if you talk about the Simpson rule, it is applicable for odd ordinates. If you consider volume h by 2 into first ordinate plus last ordinate plus 2 into odd terms plus 4 into even terms, you will get the Simpson rule volumes. Sir, if they ask you area, if they ask you volume, it is area into height. If they ask you the areas will be replaced by offsets. So these are some of the important formulas, sir. It is my sincere advice to all the students who are following the surveying topics. Try to attend my smart revision surveying 1 and surveying 2 and get practice all the formulas. I hope these sessions will create more and more easiness to your solving, and these sessions will help you just to memorize the formulas and how quickly you can revise within 2 hours of time. So I don't want to waste your time. That is the reason I have concentrated mainly on the major part where you can score the marks. And let me explain you, my dear students, we at IMS Academy proudly says that offering offline gate coaching at Bangalore Jayanagar Center and at Vijayawada Ben Circle. We are offering 800 plus hours of offline gate coaching. We are providing the self-learning course. We are also providing the online course, and we provide subject-wise material. We provide the like exercise books which covers level 1, level 2, level 3 questions. We are coming with the My Plan sessions where we can interact with the individual students, and we also have doubt solving portal where the doubt can be explained within 24 hours of time. In addition to this, my dear students, if you want to test yourself, we are providing the test series, chapter test, subject level test, advanced level test, multiple subject test, and my dear students, we are providing the All India mock test series, All India mock test series, which will be a replica of the GATE environment. So my dear students, if you don't want to waste the time, if you want to look for the precise content, then what are you waiting for? You have to join the IMS GATE Academy YouTube channel and join in the Telegram group link. You will get all the updates. All the best for your GATE exam. Bye bye. Signing off, Sandeep.